Alrighty guys, so today I will be doing a new segment on Dragon Ball Z discussions. And today I will be talking about Future Gohan and why I still think, even though he didn't get the ample training in the hyperbolic time chamber in the present, I think he should have been more than strong enough to defeat the androids of his time. So let's first start off by talking about the present Gohan versus Future Gohan. For those of you who might not know, Future Gohan is a Gohan that has a different lifestyle from the present time Gohan. In the present, Gohan was living his life as normal, and then Goku got a heart attack and died. He suffered from a heart virus and died. And then a few months later, the androids came, and then they killed all the Z Warriors. Gohan manages to escape somehow, fights and trains for 13 years with Trunks, and then eventually gets killed by the androids years later. Now, when I say years later, I'm talking about 13 years later. 13 years in Dragon Ball Z is a lot of time. Now, I understand if you don't go to the hyperbolic time chamber, you're not going to have the ability to bring out your hidden powers, but keep in mind that Gohan is still the same character. His superpowers are still there. He still has the same base strength as the present time Gohan. I mean, yes, the present time Gohan did train more at that certain point of his life, but in the long run, Future Gohan actually trained a lot more than the present time Gohan. And this is shown because in the present, Gohan did not train from the Cell Saga to the Buu Saga for 7 years. He didn't train for 7 years. Whereas Future Gohan was essentially training ever since his friends got killed. In addition to not only training, Future Gohan was also fighting against the androids multiple times. And this is hinted by Ox King when he says Gohan takes it upon himself to fight against the androids from time to time. Because he says from time to time, that means Gohan's fought them multiple times, and if he survives, that means he gets a Zenkai boost. Now, for those of you who might not know what a Zenkai boost is, a Zenkai boost is when a Saiyan has fought and has essentially gotten beaten up, but then somehow heals and their power level increases a lot. And this is shown many times throughout the anime and the manga, and some like to say that half Saiyans don't get the Zenkai boost the way full Saiyans do. But the fact of the matter is that they actually do get the Zenkai boost. This is shown when Gohan is fighting against Frieza, and Frieza beats up Gohan after he went berserk earlier, and Dende heals Gohan. Gohan's power was increased, and Vegeta and Frieza said, "Wow, his power's gone back up." And that's when Frieza started to realize that Dende was healing Piccolo and Gohan and the others. So, with that said, Future Gohan gets a Zenkai boost. Future Gohan trained a lot more than the present time Gohan. And on top of that, I'd like to mention the fact that when you think about 13 years as a time frame, 13 years in the future is the equivalent to 5 years between the Buu Saga and when Goku went to go train with Oob. It's not in GT, but it's 5 years in between that. That's how far in the future 13 years is. Future Gohan is 23 years old, and adult Gohan in the Buu Saga is 18 years old. So it really makes absolutely no sense how, with all of that training, even if you don't go to the hyperbolic time chamber, that he wasn't able to bring it out. When you talk about Gohan's hidden powers, you got to realize that most of the time his hidden powers come out when he has a huge surge of emotion. So, when Gohan was fighting against Cell, and the Cell Juniors were beating up on his friends, and Android 16 got his head squished, which I thought was a pretty funny scene, Gohan tapped into his power, and then he went Super Saiyan 2. And if you look at it against Raditz and Frieza, whenever his friends are hurt and in danger, that's when his hidden powers come out. So, I'm saying, if you've been fighting for 13 years and you can't bring out your hidden power, that makes no sense to me. I mean, he definitely has all of the reasons to go Super Saiyan 2, or not just Super Saiyan 2, but to at least increase his power a lot more than what it actually is. But what we really have to look at is how long did it take Gohan to turn into a Super Saiyan for the first time, because that's extremely important. If it took him years to turn Super Saiyan 1 after the androids killed all of his friends, then I can probably understand why he couldn't beat them. But if Gohan has been Super Saiyan 2, I'm sorry, if he's been Super Saiyan as soon as his friends got wiped out, and then for 13 years he was a Super Saiyan who could never get to the next level, that makes no sense to me. Because Trunks, even though he's not as strong as Gohan, Trunks would be a good training partner. And essentially over time, their base power would increase dramatically. Especially because they have the sense of emotion. Now I also have to point out that Gohan in the manga is weaker than Gohan in the anime. But I'm still trying to prove the point that Gohan should have beaten the androids regardless if he was by himself, and regardless if he was missing an arm. Because in the manga what happens is Gohan is fighting against Android 17. And he kicks him in the head just like it happens in the anime. Android 17's blowing up a bunch of random buildings. Gohan comes in, he kicks him in the head. Android 17 has his whole shirt ripped up just like in the anime. And Android 17 says, "Oh, you think you can beat me? Well, the last time I fought against you, I was using less than half of my power." And then Gohan's face was like, "Oh my god, really?" And then Android 17, like, you see him like charge at Gohan, and then the scene ends. You don't see them actually fight. And in the manga, Android 18 wasn't even involved in the fight. Whereas in the anime, Gohan fought against both androids, and it looked like he could hold his own. But I'm basing most of my facts off of the manga, but the anime still shows that Gohan was weaker than the androids. So when you put all of those things in consideration, the fact that Gohan had plenty of time to train, the fact that Gohan still has the hidden power, the fact that you can even say if Tien Shanhan trained for 13 years, I'm sure he would have been strong enough to beat the weakened versions of the androids. And these androids were weaker because of the fact that Dr. Gero in the future Dr. Gero in the future did not use his remote control device to shut off the androids. So the androids just went on a rampage. Whereas in the past, he had the ability to shut them off, and he kept working on them to tweak and improve them. So guys, this is basically why I think Future Gohan is a lot weaker than he should be. I still think he should have been more than strong enough to defeat the androids. Tell me what you guys think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day, guys.